Okay, so we're going to get towards the end here. We spoke earlier, Lana, about how there is a movement now of people on the right who are seeing this ridiculousness, and they're pretty much done with it. This is John Giles. He's a mayor in Arizona, and Robin Shaw. She was a former state senator, and they started a Republicans for Harris movement, and they were in front of the cameras, and they had this to say.
Time has come for us as Arizona Republicans to admit the obvious and to start saying the quiet part out loud, which is that our party's nominee is not qualified for office, and that we need to vote for the adult in the room, and that is Kamala Harris.
It is time to put partisan loyalties aside and vote for the leadership that will truly represent the people we want to be in the eyes of the world. Character matters.
Yeah, and real quick before we discuss that, there was one more. Jeff Duncan, who used to be the what was he? The
Georgia governor.
Yeah, the Georgia Secretary of State, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was in charge of, he's in charge of a lot of the voting there and stuff like that. He was on CNN talking about the same thing. So let's listen to what Jeff has to say, and then we'll wrap up the show.
Our president went down. He actually spoke in the same arena that Kamala Harris did earlier in the week. And he certainly had his attack lines, many of them on Kamala Harris. But he also went after the sitting governor, who happens to be a Republican. Let's listen.
Your governor, Kemp, and Raffensperger are doing everything possible to make 2024 difficult for Republicans to win. Kemp.
Now, real quick, Lana, he's extreme, even though we don't like Brian Kemp. He's very, very popular in Georgia.
It says you're fired.
Oh, by the way, if you see the gentleman in the bottom left of your screen, he got a lot of attention because I think he was suspected that he was paid to be there, because he would just very strangely keep holding that sign up, and like
it looked like he was firing Vance. Was it Vance that was speaking?
Yes.
He's like,
yep. And a lot of people pointed that out, and I don't know if it's true or it's not true, but I mean, I think there's certainly something to it. But let's finish out.
Oh, absolutely true.
Yeah, no question. Let's see what Mr. Duncan has to say here.
Is very bad for the Republican Party. He wouldn't do anything. He could have ended the travesty with a phone call because I did nothing wrong.
Kemp is your former boss.
We served together for sure. Brian Kemp has forgotten more about being a Republican than Donald Trump knows about being a Republican. Brad Raffensperger and myself included, we have done more for the conservative cause than Donald Trump has ever done.
Governor.
This is now starting to not be Donald Trump's problem. This is starting to be the Republican Party's problem. We have to call him out for what he is. He's a felonious thug who walks down the street and throws sucker punches at people like Brian Kemp, like African-American journalists, like John McCain, and the list goes on and on and on again. And the Republican Party is content sitting across the street watching it happen and not calling him out, not jumping into that fight and saying, you are wrong for us. This 10% in the middle, which now feels like it's growing to be bigger than 10% in the middle, that's going to decide this election, are paying attention. And I've never seen a human be more self-destructive than Donald Trump the last 2 weeks. He continues to do it over and over and over again. And when he loses, and the Republican Party finally catches their breath and wakes up and says, we need a GOP 2.0, there'll be some people around, but it's going to take time to fix. My hope is that Kamala Harris ends up being a blank canvas for us to be able to help work these new policies and new ideas into place. That's the risk I'm taking as a Republican voting for Kamala Harris.
Final word.
I'll tell you, that to me is a true American. That is somebody that stands for the values of this country, because it's like, I'm not playing this is my team, because people would accuse you and I of that. But I can speak for myself. I have a pretty good feeling Lana would be the same, and she will let me know as soon as I say this. But if we had somebody as wacky as Donald Trump on the Democratic side that was just did not care about people and just was so awful, I don't think we would be blindly backing him.
No, come on. Like, that doesn't, Democrats don't do that, which is the odd thing, right? Because so many people on the other side do it. Al Franken, we loved Al Franken.
Yep.
Al Franken took an inappropriate picture, and
Years ago.
Years ago, and that was the end of his political career.
Right.
Political lawmaker.
Yep. It makes no sense. Now, again, this is a little bit of a different time where it was a little bit more sensitive at the time. The Me Too movement had just started. But again, at the end of the day, ridiculous. I mean, absolutely ridiculous to kick him out of the party. It made no bit of sense. And I have a feeling, obviously, if that had surfaced today, there's a 0% chance they would have kicked him out, because they're like, wait a minute, hold on. If they have no standards, doesn't mean that we don't have to have any standards, but maybe we need to relax a little bit and understand, that this, I don't know if this was our best move. That was a way over the top overreaction. But, I am glad to see that there are a lot of Republicans. I mean, the Republican primaries made it clear. People literally went out of their way to vote for people who had dropped out of the race already, like in Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis and stuff like that. They got up and said, I'm going to put a protest vote in and let people know that as much as I love the Republican Party growing up and the conservatism and all this, this is not the Republican Party. This is not conservatism. This is nonsense. And I don't care what we need to do. We will do everything we can to get rid of this nonsense. And that's why I am feeling better and better. Lana, when have you ever, growing up, literally, because we've been following politics a long time, and even when you're kids, you could go back in the history books and look this up. When did you ever see a movement of people in your own party saying, nope, I refuse, absolutely refuse? I've never seen this before in my life, ever.
Yeah, no, it started to break with like Kissinger and what's her face? Why did I lose her name? I can't remember. They got rid of her from what is her name? She was like the first one that spoke out against Trump. The fuck is her name?
Liz Cheney.
Yeah, Liz Cheney. I forget her. I want her and Kissinger to come out and say they are voting for Kamala. I don't think I've heard them say that yet.
Who? Liz Cheney?
Yeah.
I don't know that she said that. I want to say that she did, but I see there's a big movement to get Mike Pence to come out and say that he's going to vote for Kamala Harris.
He'll never say that.
Yeah, you would. You don't know. I mean, I don't know. You're probably right. He probably never will, but it is the right thing for him to do. George W. Bush needs to come out and do it as well. The whole Bush family needs to. Whoever's alive in the Bush family needs to do that.
Yeah.
Because again, this is about the country. It's not about
generals. All those people who worked under Trump's administration should literally go and say, but they won't, because we heard what's his name, Bolton, who came out and says that Trump is unfit, but says that he said Biden's just as bad, or like, what are you talking about?
Nikki Haley's up on the stage for Donald Trump at the convention.
Yeah, so they're just not. They're just kind of. I don't know.
I will. The only thing about Mike Pence is that I will say about him is that he literally came out and said, "I will not vote for Donald Trump." He at least said that. Right. So hopefully there's something we could do. But you know what? Be honest with you, Lana, I'm feeling better and better. I don't think they're going to need it. I think this is going to be a bigger. I think it's going to be a bigger win than Biden. I really believe he's going to pull off states that we're not even talking about. And the state of Florida is going to somewhat be in play. I know it sounds crazy, but when you have 2 ballot initiatives on there that are going to bring out people who otherwise would not vote, that's huge already. And then you now have this whole new dynamic of the Democratic Party that was not factored into Florida when Biden was running. And, we still had the ballot initiatives, and people, even when Biden was running, I heard some people in the state of Florida that are heavy in the Democratic Party in this state that are saying, don't count out Florida. You know, we've got abortion, we've got marijuana on the ballot, so don't count it out. Now you throw in Kamala Harris and you throw in this excitement, and you throw in the young people.
Villages.
And
that was wild. You got the villages over there, like so.
The Villages, yes, which, man, if you don't know the Villages, because I know the Villages is only about a little over an hour from where I live. And the Villages is a MAGA hotbed. But video has surfaced from the Villages recently where there was a huge Kamala Harris party. And if that's happening in the Villages, Florida has a chance. And if she wins Florida, you talk about, I mean, I would never say fuck Pennsylvania or fuck those other states because we want to pile on. We want to win as big as. But what I'm saying is if she wins Florida, it's over. It's over. There's no chance. I mean, there's absolutely no chance. So, so I would not rule this out. I think she may even make some stops here in Florida. I know she's got a busy schedule coming up over the next week or so. I know she's going to be in Nevada, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin. She's in Pennsylvania tonight. She's going to be in all the battleground states. So, so we look forward to that.